welcome to the GSTL. It is the final day of FXOpen, and they are up against StarTale. This is going to be a pretty good match, I feel. You know, FXOpen a little bit down on the rankings right now, kind of competing with Seoul for that last playoff spot, but it should be an exciting match. And Choya is playing.
Yeah, Choya is playing, which is actually really interesting since he several times now announced his retirement, and then every single time he comes back, makes a reappearance within the league. A little bit of a thumbs up here for Hurricane, apparently.
Yeah, he deserves thumbs up.
He's going up against Panic today, so it's going to be one of the mirror matches that we have. Hurricane versus Panic. Choya also in a mirror matchup has to face a Protoss player. He's going up against the bench. We see now to the center of the map with a big smirk on his face.
Yeah, we got a lot of mirrors today, a lot of ZVZ's PPs, and FXOpen not sending out a single Terran. Gumio is not playing today, unless he comes out for the ace match, which I suppose is possible, but
Choya already hinted kind of that Gumio might actually be the ace player for the team today if need be. I'm a little bit more interested in why exactly he's going to play himself today, because the problem for them really is if they lose today, then Seoul has a chance to make their way back and actually like surpass FXOpen, and that would be really bad for them.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess, you know, today is going to be a pretty interesting day. For me, it's kind of a weird choice. Why Choya and why Tassadar, both of them over Gumiho in the regular lineup?
Not only Gumiho, but at the same time also Lucky, who did really well in the team league so far. The last time that we saw him, he played surprisingly well, and I feel that he's one of the players who just showed better results in the past. So it's a little bit interesting to me to just see that Choya said, okay, well, you know what, we're going to play Tassadar, and I'm going to play myself instead of giving Gumiho and Lucky a chance to get points for the team.
Yeah, so I feel like Choya's definitely got something very special planned. I mean, not only just in his particular match, but in the entire roster. Like, there's definitely some sort of team magic going on behind the scenes that they've got planned out for today, because I don't think this is just going to be like a strategical choice necessarily only.
Yeah, it shouldn't. He was joking a little bit earlier and was like, okay, I'm going to lose today, but that was, of course, only a little bit of banter that we had backstage. So I'm really interested to see what kind of strategy he puts out there. I was teasing him a bit and was saying he should either go for either Proxy Gates, Proxy Colossi, or Proxy Stargate, and he apparently didn't like that thought too much. He showed it in the past several times, but I feel today we're going to see something a bit more normal.
Yeah, I think so, most likely. But, you know, Proxy Robotics Colossi would be pretty classic. I'd like to see that.
Yeah, it has been quite some time since we saw the last time of him, so I don't think he's going to really show it, but, well, we might be surprised there. Match results from the last week, of course, or actually not from last week, it's from Tuesday when we had Examesa going up against Zubu. Once again, Examesa with a victory here.
Yeah.
4-1 over Team Zubu. It was pretty one-sided.
Only Crank lost the game against Symbol. Symbol's a great Zerg player, somebody you expect to take a win, but Crank actually looked even decent in the game. It was not a very one-sided game either.
Yeah, Crank actually in the past won against Symbol several times, and this was the first map that Symbol could take against Crank, but still, in the end, Examesa is on the top spot here.
Plus 11.
Yeah, plus 11. Like, I don't think that anything can happen there anymore. And on the other end of the lineup of the standings, we have FXOpen and Seoul, both of them struggling a little bit. And as you can see, if FXOpen loses today, then Seoul can actually surpass them.
Yeah, it's true. All it'll take is, you know, a loss from FXOpen and a win from Seoul. And actually, if that happens, they'll be tied, technically, at -5 and 3-4 each. So, no. 2-5 each. 2-5 each, yeah.
Like, there could be a potential tie, but depending on the results, I feel
if it's closer to 3-4, as I guess I should say, at the closest. But anyways, that's very unlikely. As it is going into breaking down the races here, you can see FXOpen only having one Terran left. It's Gumiho. May come out as the ace player if it comes to that today. StarTale looking flexible as always. 6 Protoss, 6 Zergs, 4 Terrans they can rely on, and so their depth today pretty high. Obviously relying on Bomber last, so StarTale highly favored to take it today, and FXOpen is really going to have to bring some of that FXO magic I was talking about earlier to try to take this one. It's not going to be easy.
One of the things that we should mention as well is that the last team that Seoul has to play this season is actually Examesa. So the chances of Seoul taking down Examesa are, I would say, slim to nothing, at least if Examesa is really performing on exactly the same level that they did in the recent past. So that might be something that Choya and FXOpen have been figuring into their decisions today, but still, there is the possibility, of course, that you get really good matchups, that you win your games, and that Examesa is going to lose another match this season.
Yeah,
but so far, they look so dominant.
It's true. Seoul did beat the second place team, Azubu, so, you know, crazy things have happened. And here's, of course, the FXOpen team. Very Protoss heavy, few Zergs leaking in. Lucky not in the roster today. JKS, on the other hand, will be a starting player. And Lenok comes out as well. So you see a strange lineup from FXOpen, but still a decently strong one.
And by the way, XMA of course not the only team that Seoul has to face this part in the second round. Also against Azubu, but both of them like the top 2 teams in the league. So against both of them, they will have a tough time. But stranger things have happened in the past, so we could actually see that going on again. Shoya here, once again the center of attention of our cameraman, since he is once again the player coach here.
Yeah.
And apparently he has support of his team as well.
Exactly. I saw a shot of Seed there as well. And Tastar. Here's the StarTale lineup. It's very... just so much depth in this lineup. You got good players like Curious and Light for your Zergs. You've got Panic at Adventure Pross, even Balloon if you need to. You've got Bomber, you got Hack. So I mean, every race has like at least 2 solid players.
And Life already got his first accomplishment today. He won they played like a leg game earlier.
Yeah, what was the story on that?
Like, it was kind of interesting. At first I thought Bomber and Life actually do it. Like, you sit opposite to each other in 2 chairs, and then you put your thighs together, and one player of the game has to just put the thighs outwards, the other one just presses them inwards. And you would not believe the strength that Life has in its thighs. It's incredible. Like, he did not only beat the entire StarTale team, but then Bomber just waved me over and was like, okay, you have to try too. And Life just simply crushed me. I was like, what the hell is going on there? Like, this is like the exercise that always the women and the girls do at the gym. And he is so good at that. I was like, wow, where on God's earth do you have the strength?
I think I've seen some, like back in the States, some of my Korean friends play games like that, but I've never
It was actually pretty funny, but I haven't seen that before. I redeemed myself by taking out Legend in arm wrestling. His strong left arm against my weak left, so that was pretty funny.
I saw that. It was...
really? You saw that? You caught that? That was really quick.
That. Yeah, it was... didn't last very long, but I did happen to catch it. We get a lot of fans here, by the way, today.
StarTale team enjoyed that quite a lot, and Legend, they made a little bit fun of it. But he defeated, like, I think, Life or Bomber before that, so he was not too sad about it. But back to StarCraft, both teams are ready, and as you already said, we have a decent crowd today. A lot of foreigners actually in the studio. Welcome everybody that's currently listening to us on the earphones here.
Yeah. This is going to be a good one. You know, FXOpen took FOU, you know, and sponsored them, and they've been with them for a really long time. Today is the final day. It's been a long history in the GSTL for FXOpen. Starting things off with a foreigner team going all Korean, winning 2 titles, and Choya's coming out to play today. I think it just makes their final game all the more epic.
Yeah, it definitely does. And StarTale, of course, definitely being the team here that is highly favored in this encounter. But still, with the good lineups and also good performance in the individual games, we could see FXOpen prevail today. I'm really interested in what exactly Choya is going to do here. Yeah. Usually if Choya comes out, he has like a specific strategy prepared against his opponent. He's going up against Adventure, has shown us really good Protoss versus Protoss in the past, so I'm not quite sure if he will really be able to make this work.
Yeah, the thing is it's a PvP too, so anything can really happen.
I mean, the thing is that quite often you are trying to anticipate who your opponent is going to send out on a particular map, so maybe they expect someone completely different on Yonsu and just miscalculated. Could be the case, but time will tell.
Yeah, time will definitely tell. Here's StarTale, of course, highly favored. Bomber's haircut losing him some favor amongst many fans, but there's the handshake there. Looks like some sort of smack talk was missed, but...
I actually went down the match list, and we're going to have that, of course, in front of us in just a little bit.
Yeah.
If you just look at the names, I think most people today would predict a 4-2 victory for StarTale. Just going down the matches, I guess we're going to see them on the screen in a little bit, then we can talk about that again. But it's the best of one, and there are a lot of players that have shown sniper abilities in the past, Choya being one of them. Then you have a match between Hurricane and Panic, where most people would say, like, okay, Hurricane is the player with the more experience, he's the player who really can make things happen here. Panic has shown a couple of really good games in the past, but he's definitely not on the level of Hurricane just yet. Yeah. But in the PvP, anything can happen.
It's true.
And Panic has shown that he sometimes has the abilities to take down a big name on one map. So...
It could really go either way, but I think 4-2 is like the most safe, the most reasonable prediction that you can make. When it comes to FXOpen, their real skill came into the all-kill format where they could rely on big-name players like Lenok and Gumiho to kind of tie things over at the end. But now, you know, all their sniper players that they could have kind of used can go into the best of ones, try to take some games. and really hope for the best here. And today, I think that's what they got to do. Choya's got to come through for his team if they want to get some early points there. It's not going to be easy.
Yeah. One of the things that also comes into place is that we have, for example, Linok in the Zerg versus Zerg, and Linok has shown us great ZVZ in the past, but in the team league, he's a little bit more shaky than in the individual league, especially in the first round. We had a few times him as the last player or just one of the players in the lineup, and he did not perform at all on the level that people were expecting. So if Pet, his opponent today, has a really aggressive strategy and Linok walks into a trap, maybe Linok is taken out, and then suddenly the entire strategy of FXOpen is down the drain.
Exactly, so that's a really scary moment. They've really got their eggs in very important baskets. I don't want to say they have their eggs all in one basket like on Linok, because that's not how this format works, but if they lose some of their important players, the shaky players are really going to have to pick up the slack, and it's... You look at a player like JKS, and you look at his GSTL win rate, and he hasn't even played 5 matches, and you think, well, is this going to be the guy who gets the early lead? Probably not.
Yeah, against Curious of all people. Curious is a veteran in Zerg versus Zerg. He has mainly 30 maps played, a 53% win ratio, leaves him on a very decent level. He lost maps in the past to players like Ragnarok. He was 3-0'd by Life, and Linok also took him out in one of the GSTL matches. But then if you look at JKS, we do not have a lot for him. He is like 1-5 against Zerg, so a really, really horrible win ratio against Zerg. In the mirror matchup, that's just not his game. He didn't win a single best of 3 in the recent past. He lost to Burning, that was at the Challenger League qualifier. At the WCS qualifier before that, he lost to Hope with an 0-2. He lost to Violet in the GSTL Season 1. So a lot of matches where JKS wasn't able to impress in Zerg versus Zerg. On the other hand, maybe he has something completely new prepared. Choya has sent him out for a reason. Maybe he was hoping for a different matchup, but it could also be that JKS just improved a lot in the mirror matchup and is now a contender that could take the first win against an experienced player like Curious.
Yeah, it's hard to study a player like JKS because you don't have a lot of matches to look at. And if you look at Curious' stats here, he is solid. He has played, nearly 50 games in the GSTL. He has a positive win ratio. He's won 3 of his last 5 games against tough opponents. And his matchup in ZVZ is in the GOM booth alone above 60%. And that means he's been beating good players because no bad players play in the GOM booth. That's true. And no matter what league we're talking about. So he's a really strong ZVZ player and highly favored here in this first match.
Yeah, just talking about a few of the players that he defeated in the recent past. He took down DRG with a 2-1. He was able to win against Yongjin, GSTL Season 2. Took out Symbol, was successful against Roro, Bung Bung. So a couple of really big names that he has there in his in his list of victims just recently. But best of 1, and we are currently also looking on Whirlwind, which is a pretty big map, and you can go for a variety of strategies of Whirlwind. We've seen 2-base timings, we've seen early pools on Whirlwind, a lot of strategies where you can just gamble a little bit and go for an early pool, hope that your opponent starts with a hedge first. I don't know.
Yeah, there's...
ZVZ is a lot about the opening.
It's definitely true. JKS has also shown us in the past that he will do an all-in or an aggressive strategy a lot of the time if he's facing an opponent he does not feel confident against. And against Curious, that could be a good choice, but on Whirlwind, sometimes luck plays into aggressive early pool openings or roach pushes, because if you go cross spawns, you're probably not going to want to do a roach push because it's going to take just way too long to get to your opponent's base. Speedling attacks can be a different story. It's just all about style and whether or not he feels confident in playing a long game against Curious here on such a big map. Well, I was just saying, he may even change his strategy based on the spawning location.
Yeah, could be the case. I mean, Curious right now, definitely the player, as we already mentioned, who is more experienced, but I feel it's now more about JKS. He is the one who has to make the choice. The ball is in his court. Curious is an experienced player. There's a lot of material out there that he can study on maps like Whirlwind as well. So this is one of the things that you have to consider when you are going into this first match. JKS is definitely going to be the one, I feel, that is trying to play the more active role in this game. Curious probably just playing it a little bit more reactionary than his opponent. But time will tell. We're going into game number 1 here at the GSTL Season 2 2013 Round 2. StarTale up against FXOpen. Curious versus JKS. And starting to the top right for FXOpen, their starting player today, it is
FXO JKS.
No early pool just yet for him. He goes into the Overlord instead. trying to play a little bit more of a macro-oriented game on a big map like Whirlwind. His opponent, the StarTale player to the top left, is exactly the same, a little bit of different overlord timing. This is, of course, for Team StarTale.
StarTale, curious.
And actually, you know, this is kind of a StarTale type thing, is to get the overlord like that. Life always does the drone cancel, and Curious in this case not actually going for that, just going to take the drones after, getting the overlord on 10. It's kind of been like almost proven that the 9 overlord is the best one, but people still stylistically kind of do different things based on what they like. Thanks for coming down, all of you, by the way.
Yeah, one of the things that we actually have here is a bit of a more lucky timing for the FXOpen player. JKS with the Overlord sending it to the top left will definitely be in the know about the timing of the hatchery that we see now going down for Curious first. Curious, of course, with the Overlord that he's also sending out now, the second one, will know where exactly the FXOpen player spawned on the map, but his scouting of the timings and of the hatch, the pool timing, the gas timing is going to be much, much later.
Yeah, that's true. And we actually have a gas first here for JKS upon scouting that fast hatchery, so that's a smart choice. And, you know, a good response here by Curious to see the Overlord and also go gas first, because he may be thinking something like this is happening when he sees that Overlord. It's a little bit of a risk, but it's a smart one. I like it.
I mean, he doesn't have the scouting information. The build works out well for him. It's exactly the same build that both players are going for, but he's definitely gambling a little bit more than JKS is, just because he already knows about the timing and can therefore just have a quick look into the main base as well. So far, things are actually going pretty well for both players. No huge differences here. And it all comes down on what exactly they're going to try to do on the two bases. We could see attack into something like Mutalis, having a few out on the map to just clear the Overlords, make sure that there's no room for scouting anymore, that the vision on the map of the opposing player is absolutely reduced. Or on the other hand, just one of these roach timings that we've seen a lot in the recent past.
Yeah, definitely could be a roach timing. You know, the really fast speed here, or actually he's, okay, I was going to say, you need to get that, but very fast speed here for JKS, and Curious does the same, and both leaving drones in gas, so it looks like we're going to see a tech-oriented build here. I mean, I don't think it's going to be a Baneling Nest going down next or anything like that.
Well, on a map like Whirlwind, you can definitely go for Baneling Aggression as well. And if you, I mean, we have a few Harvesters pulled out, but a Baneling Nest getting it here is not necessarily a bad move. You have a pretty big ramp to defend at the natural, so it's really tricky to just throw down, let's say, a double evolution chamber and a Roach Roar and completely wall this. So we have the first Baneling Nest already coming in for Curious, and that's one of the styles that he's really preferring. He likes to have that Baneling Nest. It's not only a safety precaution, but at the same time, you have the opportunity to be aggressive. Wouldn't be surprised to see for JKS exactly the same, even if he just tries to get like 2 or 3 defensive Banelings on top of the ramp.
I should clarify what I mean, like an aggressive Baneling Nest. A defensive one on this map is almost required because of how wide the ramp is. And actually a big commitment to Zerglings alone here for JKS, going into 12 right now, and that's why Curious makes his Baneling Nest, just to be safe.
Yeah, Curious is in a really good spot now, because if he gets a few Banelings and he just puts them on top of the ramp, that Speedling attack that JKS is currently going for will be shut down quite easily. But the FXOpen player throws now his own Baneling Nest into the game, and this is a lot of aggression coming out for JKS now, as we already expected. He's the one who wants to initiate the fights here, and Curious is playing the more reactionary game, even building his own Spinecrawler right now, because he wants to make sure that he can snipe those Banelings at the beginning. He has to be careful in the main base though, but now he sees the rest of the Zerglings heading his way, so more and more Banelings are going to be needed for him.
Exactly, one Spinecrawler nearly finished at the natural. It's going to help out a little bit against aggressive Banelings by JKS. These 2 Banelings alone are not going to be enough, actually, if there's good micro from JKS, and so far it's really good. Yeah, micro so far is good. The Zerglings are heading into the main base. Another set of Zerglings immediately going for the natural, but we have those Banelings not doing any damage whatsoever. That could have been much better detonates against the Zerglings here. So at this point, JKS really doing some damage. More Banelings are already morphing. 22 Harvesters against 34 on the other hand. So Curious has the lead in economy. He just has to defend it. Yeah, and you know, actually, it looks like he will. 3 Banelings are about to finish, but they're not quite ready yet. There they go. 3 of them running into the drone line. Where's the split? Curious taking some serious damage here. Loses, looks like 4 Harvesters there. Yeah, 4 in total, but he's still ahead with rather 8 Harvesters. We have a couple of Zerglings at the natural trying to cause some trouble and taking out even additional drones, but Curious now has his own Zerglings in the game and a couple of Banelings that really make sure that JKS just can't do too much. And Curious so far is still ahead in the game. Yeah, massively, and he's got the Queens out. He's at the spine at the front, and he will deflect this next wave easily. I feel like the micro for those first few banelings could have been better for Curious, but JKS's splitting on the Zerglings could have been a little bit better as well in the last fight to try to pick off more drones.
I'm also pretty sure that we missed the baneling hit at the natural because he lost a lot of Zerglings, JKS that is, and I feel not all of them were really just Ling versus Ling fights. One Queen went down, of course, for Curious, so his injects were a bit limited there, but at the same time he's the one with the better economy. He's currently only up a few Harvesters, but he has a very, very solid position here. He needs to be careful though. Zergling still running into his main base, scouting what exactly is going on, seeing of course not only the gas timing but also the progress of the lair tech.
Yeah. So things have evened up a little bit here, but an advantage definitely goes to Curious, and he makes an additional Spine Core just to be safe. He's always checking to make sure these Lings are not going to catch him off guard. The lair timing is almost exactly the same between these two players, but if I'm not mistaken, yeah, Curious has all of his gas up, and he's had them up for a lot longer. There's not even a fourth gas taken yet for JKS, so that gas income makes such a big difference. And he might even just go Mutas here. I'm not sure, though. I mean, he sees the lair timing of his opponent as well. He's not going to know when it finishes, though. He
sees everything at this point, and Curious is playing a very safe game here. We have the Spire coming up for him now, so as mentioned before, if you go for the Mutalisks here, you will at the beginning be able to do a lot of damage to your opponent, supply and to the vision. Just taking down those Overlords is worth a lot. At the same time, though, you have to be careful and transition out as soon as there are too many Spore Crawlers on the map. With 3 shots, one of those Spore Crawlers can just take down the Mutalisks here. The micro, of course, in a Zergling Baneling fight is always the most important part. And we have JKS being the one who goes into speed for his Banelings and also produces a ton of Zerglings right now. He really wants to end it here.
Yeah, he's just going to try to go for a speed Baneling attack, which is...
And takes the third behind it. That gives him production and a potential, like, fallback.
He keeps letting these Banelings go for one. Obviously, this time he's not letting it go, but the last few that we've seen, even at the natural, he wastes a lot of Banelings like that. And a speed Baneling attack, I mean, it looks like that's what he's going for here, but it can work, but it's probably not going to. Curious has 2 spines, and if he sees this coming, all he has to do is prepare his own Banelings at home. And speed Banelings versus regular Banelings, as long as the Banelings connect, it's okay.
Depends on what kind of way he's going to need to attack, because the problem for him are going to be the Mutalisks. If the Mutalisks focus the Banelings down, then he has a problem. But for now, Curious is absolutely safe, and JKS is now building his Banelings.
Yeah, he's building 15 of them versus 2 additional ones, and the 10 Mutas I think he should easily be able to hold here.
It's scouted though, and the Mutalisks are not out just yet. He sees all of them, so he needs to send the Mutalisks over. Oh, there we go, and the Zerglings for Curious are already gone. The army supply is 33 against 22 in favor of Curious currently, and the Mutalisks are out. The Mutalisks can move in right away and take down these Banelings without a problem whatsoever, and that's horrible for JKS.
Yeah,
it could be worse.
It could not be worse, and he lets one Baneling hit all of his Banelings, and that seals the deal. No drones killed here, and that is going to be game. The Mutalisks are now going to dominate the map. All of the gas menu is useless.
GG. Game over. In terms of supply, JKS was still in a good position, and if you just look at the worker supply and the 3 bases, you could say, okay, they are still in a good spot, but the problem was really the tech here. With the Mutalisks on the map, all the Overlords would go down. The map is dominated by Curious. He can safely just get his income up at the 3rd base, whereas taking down the 3rd of his opponent wouldn't be a problem for him whatsoever. So, really dominant position for Curious, and as expected in our opening game here, the StarTale player with a lot more experience than his opponent takes it.
Yeah, and just the tech there closing the deal. There's no way he's going to be able to hold that 3rd base that he has up with the Mutas out. He's going to lose so many Overlords. Well defended by Curious, well scouted. And the thing is, that's the kind of game that we expected from JKS, and I can't fault him for trying to go for aggression like that against Curious. You know, it's Whirlwind, the ramp is wide, a big Zergling attack can sometimes work.
I was a little bit surprised, to be honest, to see him go into Lair for speed and then another Baneling attack, because the problem for him really is that this is going to be scouted. There's no way that Curious doesn't see that. With all the Overlords scattered across the map, with no Queens active on the map to just take them out and limit the scouting information that Curious has, there was just no way for him to really hide it. And Curious was actively searching for it. He saw all those Zerglings streaming across the map, and then suddenly they disappeared. And he's like, well, that doesn't make any sense. Like, where are those Zerglings suddenly? So he repositions the Overlord a little bit, sees all of those Banelings. He's already on his way to get the Mutalisks, and the only thing that he has to do is put one good rally in there. The Mutalisks start taking down the Banelings, and that was a pretty all-inish move there by JK.
I mean, extremely. The thing is, speed banelings, they roll up the ramp a little bit faster, but Curious was also able to get good baneling hits on the speed banelings because they're a little bit faster than the regular banelings, but they're not that much faster. You know, it's hard to actually micro and split your banelings.
He had a chance to transition out. He was behind already after the nice defense that we saw from Curious before that, but I feel he had a bit more of a chance there if he would have just tried to transition into. Because the timing for the layer was roughly the same. It's just the resources that he lost earlier and a few of lava. That was, of course, an issue for him. But he had the same amount of Harvester, so I feel he had a better chance there. He was trying to go for the all-English move and it didn't work for him. It's, of course, a bit sad here, but still, Curious is just too experienced, man.
Well, now we've got the head, the anchor of FXOpen coming in here in game number 2. A much more likely chance of taking a victory. He's an MLG champion, GSL finalist. It's Lenok. And
Lenok playing the same matchup now. Lenok playing a Zerg versus Zerg. He's going up against Pet. And we have seen Pet a lot more in the last few weeks. First of all, he made a pretty decent run at the WCS Challenger League qualifier. He was able to get in there and really showed us his skills. And then in the Team League, he also was used by Joa a little bit more often. So definitely one of the players that can make something happen here. He lost to Hiva, won against Patience on the other hand. We have a 5-minute break, guys, and when we come back, we'll see if Pet can actually do something against Lenok and maybe tie the series here, or if StarTale is going up 2-0 against FXOpen. We'll see you guys in a few.
Your daughter